What's poppin'? What's happening? Welcome back. I just wanted to hop on here today to make a video about Prismatic Hunter. As I'm sure you're all aware, it's very, very strong right now. Very. So I wanted to talk about all the things that it does, and then potentially how to fix it. Because Bungie, what are we doing? What are we doing? You love to talk about how the focus is on gameplay, and then you release Prismatic Hunter into the game. Like, what? What even is that? And you know the build I'm talking about. I don't even have to say what the build is, because Prismatic on all classes can do a lot of different builds and do a lot of different things. But I'm sure you know the one I'm talking about. I'm talking slow dodge, threaded specter, smoke nade, scatter. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You didn't even have to have me list them out. You knew before I even said it. So let's hop into why it's so annoying, and then potentially how to fix it without throwing it in the dumpster, as I'm not a big fan of when Bungie has something that's been strong for a while, so they just completely nerf it into the ground, and then they call it a day. Not a huge fan of that. So I think it's a cool kit. I think it should still be viable, but let's hop into it. Now, I will try to do this in one take, so if I fumble it up, make fun of me. Just do it. So let's hop in. Let's start off with smokes. I made this sheet here that lists out everything that each individual ability does to try to give you some perspective of where the problems might lie. So let's start with smoke. And now I will throw up clips to the right of how I got the timings for how long the stuff lasts and how long cooldowns are. I won't focus too much on the smoke and the scatter. Class abilities is what I want to focus on mainly in this video. And then after I list out everything that it does, we'll get into how to fix it. So smoke, it lasts for 10 seconds once it's thrown. And then after 10 seconds is up, it self-detonates and then applies whatever smoke effect it has in the area for roughly 6 seconds. I was just using the in-game timer. These are not exacts. They're close, but they're not exacts. So if you're inside the smoke cloud, what does it do? It obscures the vision, it removes your HUD temporarily, it weakens you, it slows you, and then while the smoke has not exploded, for the 10 seconds that it's stuck to a surface, it will ping the radar. You've all seen it, you know what it does. Let's move on to scatter. Scatter, once deployed, lasts 11 seconds. It now aggressively tracks enemies when in close proximity. It applies Scorch if it hits you with any of the little trackers, and it's hard to shoot the grenade to get rid of early. Unlike trip mines and lightning grenades, which once they're deployed, if you shoot them with a single bullet, they're gone. Scatter has a bunch of different individual projectiles, making it very hard to get rid of with a gun. But I think that's part of the draw of scatter, because scatters have never been good. They've never been used, but now they're good, so I don't want to take that away from the scatter. Let's move on to the dodge. Look at all this. Look at all this from a single button press. So, dodge now removes aim assist. Not surprising, it's always done that. Applies whatever dodge effect it has the hunter has equipped, i.e. be a reload, the refund of the melee, or radiant. Nothing new there, we've all seen it. If you run it with the aspects that apply to the dodge, there is 3 aspects that apply to using your dodge now. I don't know why they did that, that's a different video. I think it's a little ridiculous having 3 different aspects all attached to the dodge, but let's move past that. So you now get slowed if you're in close proximity to the hunter, that's the slow dodge, and then it makes a specter. And the specter itself does all of these things. The specter draws aim assist, lasts for 11 seconds, then dissipates. Again, not an exact count. It blocks bullets. It detonates for big damage to close enemies. It makes threadlings upon the detonation. It also pings the radar, and it has roughly 200 health, but I'm sure no one was complaining about the health of Thread Spectre. If anything, if they tuned it down, it wouldn't change the functionality of all this. In fact, it would let them get to the threadlings earlier when it gets destroyed. So, the only thing nice is that after it's lasted its 11 seconds and dissipates, it does not create the threadlings. So that's good. Look at all that value for pressing a button. You cannot push a Prismatic Hunter right now. If you so much as get within 5 feet of them, you are just dead, because you're now slowed, there's a threaded specter in front of you, they don't have aim assist while they're dodging, while the specter draws your aim assist, making it very difficult to shoot at them. Especially if you're on console, PC, it's probably not as bad, but you do have bullet magnetism to the Spectre and not the Hunter while they're dodging, so probably a little bit annoying for PC people. But let's move on to Titan and Warlock as a comparison for what they can do, and I'm going to focus mainly on just the class ability for each individual class and the aspects that you can attach to the class ability, thus essentially sort of giving you 3 abilities instead of just like, or 3 offensive or utility. Like you get way more utility. So let's move on to Titans. Titan's only aspect on Prismatic that attaches to their class ability would be Dranger's Lash. Because you have access to Thruster on Prismatic, they sort of made like a weird version of Dranger's Lash, where once you do your small thruster, it leaves like a strand ball behind, and then it explodes, and anything in that proximity is supposed to get suspended. It's bad. Don't use it. I have tried to use it on my Titan for the longest time, and 80% of the time I watch this thing blow up next to someone and they're not suspended. It is terrible. I don't think something's working correctly with it. I know this is a little sidetrack, but the Dranger's Lash with the thruster is bad, and it gives you a 33-second cooldown on thruster. Granted, I took all the times for how long it takes to get your class ability back, with 100 mobility for Hunters, 100 resilience for Titans, and 100 recovery for Warlocks. So the fastest cooldowns that you can get, just to show you how close these are in comparison. So Hunters can dodge about every 28 seconds. Again, rough estimate. Titans, with Dranger's Lash on, the thruster cooldown is roughly 33 seconds, and if you use it with a Rally Barricade, it's roughly 24 seconds. And I'm sure no one is complaining about getting caught with Dranger's Lash, as it's very coordinated. If they're using the thruster, you can just shoot the ball out of the air real quick, and it does nothing. It is so useless. You're already shooting the Titan to begin with, and if they thruster, you accidentally just hit the ball while you're trying to track them, and it's gone. It has like 0 value. If you get caught by Dranger's Lash, it's a super coordinated attack. If the Titan times it right and he knows what he's doing, you'll probably get caught. But it's slow, and you have plenty of time to avoid it, so not a whole lot of value. Let's move on to Warlock. Warlocks have access to Phoenix Dive, and they have access to both of their rifts. The things that you can attach to your class ability would be the Helion aspect, which pops when you use your class ability, and the Threadlings, which you just spawn 3 Threadlings when you use your class ability. 3 Threadlings. Hunter's Threaded Spectre makes 2 Threadlings when it blows up. It already has 2/3 of what the Warlock's aspect does from base on top of all of this. It already does it. It already makes 2 Threadlings. Granted, they're not instant, but another thing to note is the Threadlings are supposed to be perchable when you have that aspect on. That's like the other part of the aspect. But when you use them with Phoenix Dive, the perching doesn't work. I don't know if that's supposed to be a trade-off with using Phoenix Dive with the Threadling aspect. If you use it with the Rift, the Threadlings will perch. If you watch the video over there, I don't know how I'm going to work them in. That's for editing me. But I hope I do it well, and it looks good. So you'll notice that when I show you the clip for the Phoenix Dive, the Threadlings just keep tracking, and they go off and do their own thing. When you have the Rift, they're able to be perched, and you can carry them into your next gunfight. Warlocks can do that every Phoenix Dive every 34 seconds with max recovery, and they can use a Rift every 50 seconds. So they get that value of Helion and Threadlings this often, and Titans get Dranger's Lash this often. So they can outspam Titans can outspam Hunters with using their class ability, but it's only by about 4 seconds. Hunters get all this every 28 seconds. A little ridiculous. So I'm going to now play a clip of how much damage each part of the Hunter's kit does total. So I'm just going to play that now.
A little ways back, I'm going to put Threaded Spectre out there, just kind of walk into it. Make sure you get right up close to it so you take maximum damage. Alright. Perfect. And then we'll do the smoke nade. Walk in there and sit in the cloud. Sweet. And then swarm nade. Wonderful.
Welcome back. Um, let's move on to how we should fix the subclass. And I don't want to gut it out, and I need to point this out, is because Prismatic is pulling abilities from all 5 subclasses and pulling them together, that if you nerf something on Prismatic, it is more than likely going to get nerfed on the subclass it came from. I don't think Bungie has a way to individually nerf things on Prismatic so they don't affect that part on the individual kit itself. Like Smoke, for example, if you nerf Smoke, I'm sure it would get nerfed on Night Stalker as well. So with that in mind, I'm going to try to nerf these in a way where it doesn't affect the kit that it came from too much. So with Smokes, I don't have too much of a problem with them. I do, however, have a huge problem with Bungie's design philosophy on some of the subclasses and abilities, because they say that each subclass is supposed to do its own thing. It's supposed to do it well. Smokes slow. You know what else slows? Stasis slows. So I feel like at some point they need to make it so each class only does that one thing. If you get hit with a stasis ability, that's its thing. It slows. I don't think Smoke should slow. So the way that I would change Smokes is I would just get rid of the slow. If you get hit by the cloud, you get weakened, you don't have your HUD, you have obscured vision. I think that's fine. The only thing I would change is the slow. And if you don't change the slow, make it so that if you shoot the smoke, it doesn't blow up and have the smoke effect for the 6 seconds. But honestly, you could get away with not changing any of this, and I'm sure no one would complain. Honestly, smokes aren't too bad. It's when they're paired with the rest of this that you run into some serious problems. So, let's move on to scatter. The only thing that I really touch with scatters, because scatters have been bad for so long, no one has used them, and if someone was using them, it was strictly just because why not? They linger for 11 seconds. A huge problem with everything in this kit is how long everything lingers. It's annoying. So I would just change the 11-second linger time after the grenade is deployed to like 7-8 seconds, so it's not as annoying, but you still get the value of area denial from that. And then let's move on to dodge. I don't have any qualms with the dodge itself. I have everything, all the qualms with Threaded Spectre. Because we came out of a Threaded Spectre meta when Strand came out and people were using double dodges with Threaded Spectre, which you can still do on Prismatic because the class ability, or the exotic class item, gives them the ability of 2 dodges. So they get all this twice. I don't know why they did that. They also have the choice, if they want to get the Worm Husk variant of the exotic class item, which makes it so that they heal for a single button press on top of all this. So let's get into Spectre, because the only thing I'm going to change about the dodge is Spectre. I don't mind being the slowed. They used a whole aspect for it. It does what it does. It makes sense. If they're close to you, they get slowed. Nothing's changed there. Spectre should not draw aim assist. None whatsoever. I don't know why it draws aim assist. That's ridiculous. Turn that off. And then the other thing is maybe make it last 9 seconds. Honestly, it lasting 11 seconds doesn't bother me, or it would not bother me if it didn't also ping the radar. This is what I'm talking about. Like, what are we doing here? Why do we have a smoke that pings the radar that I've never had a problem with, because that's part of the Night Stalker class, is radar manipulation. They go invisible, they go off the radar, they have a smoke that pings the radar. That's their thing. They manipulate the radar. Why on God's green earth does Threaded Spectre ping the radar? I don't understand why there's overlap in what abilities do. Get rid of it. Get rid of it pinging the radar. It should not ping the radar whatsoever, and it should not draw aim assist. The Threaded Spectre is big enough that even if you don't have aim assist, whether it be controller or PC, it's not hard to shoot things. We shoot grenades off the wall, we shoot smokes off the wall, we shoot all kinds of abilities that don't have aim assist on them. So I don't think it would be too big of a problem trying to destroy those things if we didn't have aim assist. Because if anything, if someone's peeking out, I'd rather have aim assist on the player and not the Threaded Spectre. So that's basically all the changes I would do. Remove the radar, remove the aim assist. If you honestly left these 2 untouched, I wouldn't mind. Just make it so Threaded Spectre is not so much of a problem, because it is everywhere. Everywhere. If you made it to the end of the video, appreciate that. If you agree with anything I say, also appreciate that. I was gonna ask for a like on the video, but I never do. I don't even ask people to subscribe. I just let it. I just leave it up to them. They already know. Every YouTuber and their mother is like the video, man, subscribe. If you want to, go ahead. I just do this for fun. So, if you did make it to the end, though, I do really appreciate that. I appreciate you taking time watching my video. That's basically all the changes I would make to try to fix this without killing it. I still think it's a very cool playstyle, the whole area denial playstyle. So I don't want to ruin it, but I don't think it should be as potent as it is right now. And I do need to give props to the strike team, the PvP strike team, because a couple weeks ago when it was the first week of trials and Gustav and Red Death were everywhere, I was like, oh boy, here we go. It's another broken guns inside the DLC to push sales for the DLC, and we're gonna have to deal with Gustav and Red Death for like 3-4 months until they finally nerf them. But the strike team just came out and they're like, we see these a little too strong. We're reeling them back a little bit. I still think they'll be like very strong and very good, but it's props to Bungie for like being on the dime with that. The strike team has been very, very cool, so I don't want to be all hate here. They've done a very good job. That's basically all it for me. Thanks for watching. See ya.